video game where you go around and you steal things. It's kind of why the name of the game is. That's a dinosaur. Why is there a dinosaur in the... Okay, I'll just ignore that. As I was saying, so the name of the game is... Why are there zombies in my stealing game? There shouldn't be any zombies in the game about stealing stuff. Oh god, it's covering up on it. And now it just exploded. Okay. So this game about exploding zombies and dinosaurs is quite obviously Thief by Looking Glass Studios, who's now defunct like most studios from the late 90s. And published by Eidos from 1998 for the PC. This is actually Thief Gold, the Steam version of the game. And I will be going away next. Thief is an interesting video game. It's a first-person shooter with a very heavy stealth focus. Probably more so than most any game before, or any first-person shooter game I can think of beforehand. I mean, this was roughly after a little after Duke Nukem really kind of changed the whole first-person shooter game. Duke Nukem and Quake and a couple other ones. It had really just before that, all the games had literally been called Doom clones in the first-person shooter genre. After that, and those other games I was mentioning, the genre as a whole kind of broadened out. And Thief was the first notable game, at least I can think of, that placed a very high emphasis on stealth. It's the first game I can think of that has a light meter, which you can see in the bottom of the screen here, which basically keeps track of how visible the main player, Garrett, is based on his position, if he's in the shadow, if there are lights around, etc. And you can also extinguish lights to make yourself less visible. So it's a first-person shooter game where the goal isn't necessarily to go around shooting everything. You have a pretty limited number of arrows. There aren't that many arrow pickups, and this takes place in a fantasy setting where guns don't exist. Ironic for a first-person shooter. But the first couple levels, the first level is mainly a tutorial about where you just learn how to play the game and how to control it. Thief has a very strange control setup. You have to go to juggle items and weapons simultaneously. Like if you have a key to a door, in a lot of games the key will just automatically let you go through the door. But in this game you actually have to select the key and select the door. It's awkward, to say the least. But the combat is not terrible. It's not nearly as... Going around shooting things isn't nearly as fun as, say, Doom or Duke Nukem or even Wolfenstein. The three big games before this one. But it's rewarding when you actually kill someone. Also, they'll take a lot of your health away because you're probably going to need to get into a sword fight with a guard if you go and sneak around him, and that's going to kick your butt. So it's a first-person shooter because that's the best genre to put it into. It's not a shooting game. It's a first-person stealth game. Which, it may have been the very first.
How's it going?
But this game came out in 1997, and for a PC game from 1997, this is the gold edition with an updated patch to make it run better. It looks pretty good. The textures are not terrible. Obviously, it's a very dark game, given that the game has a literal dark meter. But it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look amazing. It's not Crysis, but it looks better than, say, the Atari Jaguar version of Doom, or the SNES port, or whatever. The game's music doesn't actually... There's no music during gameplay. It's very quiet. Which is mainly because, in addition to reacting to light, the AI also reacts to sound. Like, you can use an arrow to shoot across the map to distract the guards, or your steps will affect whether or not they can hear you. If you step on carpet or moss or grass, it'll sound quieter than when you're stepping on cobblestones, because apparently you wear, like, tap dancing shoes or something. It's really not fun. So now that we've got those two things out of the way, the game has only one mode, the story. This is before this wasn't one of the this game didn't have any multiplayer component in it, which is fine. I kind of wish games would go back to that, to focus on a story. The problem is that the game's story is unsure of itself. The game, from literally when you see the title alone, I think this is a game about going around stealing things. Which, for that second mission, was true. Afterwards, you're going around breaking some of the people out of jail or something, and you have to deal with zombies and dinosaurs. And given that there are still missions that take so long, I mean, I see like people speedrunning can do it in like 10-20 minutes, and that's on a speed run. It took me multiple hours to get through the first 3 missions, plus halfway through the 4th mission before I was like, dinosaurs, no. If this were a game solely about going around stealing stuff from rich people, I would probably enjoy that. That would be fun. But the game just takes this bizarre turn after that second mission. And you start having to, like, shoot holy water arrows at zombies that are coming towards you. Because if you start slashing at the zombies, A, the zombies are going to take away a lot of your health because of that combat I mentioned. And B, the zombies are going to come back up in like 5 minutes. Not even that, like 20 seconds at the most. As soon as you walk near a zombie, it shoots up and starts attacking you. So it's... while that does play back into the stealth because you want to walk around the zombies because you don't want to fight them, it's not a game about stealing. And when I bought the game, I wanted to buy a game and play a game about stealing stuff from rich people because it would be fun. And the game does still use the whole stealing, pickpocketing mechanic, but it relegates it to stealing valuables and gold for money to buy better stuff, or to buy more stuff in between missions. It doesn't make it the main theme of the game anymore. That's really disappointing. So, yeah, this is the Thief is a game that's not sure of what it's supposed to be, and that's its main problem. It looks very good. It sounds really good. I mean, the sound effects are good. The audio in between missions during the movies is okay, but given that it only has one play mode, that you'd expect that play mode to be very good. It just falls a little bit short of that. So, those are some of my thoughts. Now let's wrap it up. So, is Thief
I was a
bad game for all of these faults?
Running messages and picking
Obviously not. I mean, it has very good mechanics. It has very well designed levels if they can be incredibly long at times.
Valuable, so I snuck up
but
and made a grab.
These instances really do hold the game back from greatness.
Please, sir,
Honestly, I would really love a game where you go around, you sneak around, take out guards, and go around stealing stuff.
Let go of me, old man.
To see a keeper is not an easy thing.
Like
especially one who does not wish to be seen.
Well, not the first mission, but the second mission where you actually go and steal
as gifted
something.
As yourself. If you've grown tired
That's great. That is a really interesting thing, and I would honestly have paid for a game of just missions like that.
I caught up with him just before he vanished
into the crowd.
it
would be a little repetitive.
It was the beginning of a very long education.
It would make more sense than zombies and dinosaurs. I mean, the game isn't called Dinosaur Zombie Hunter 98. There might have been a game called that, for all I know. One of those budget Activision titles. But that's not important. The game's called Thief. And, I mean, Thief does bring a lot of interesting things to the table. It's one of the first games that's really stealth-oriented, especially in the first-person shooter genre. I mean, I can't think of a game before that had a light meter, or light sensor, or whatever you want to say. And enemies reacted to how you moved and how fast you moved on the ground. They reacted to your sound as well as being able to see you. Those are very interesting things that really could have held up a game by themselves without needing silly zombies and dinosaurs and other stuff like that. The game really could have done well on its own. Eidos or Looking Glass Studios, whoever made the decision to magic it up. Is that a word? It's a word. Really, they dropped the ball on that. I mean, I can't really think of another first-person shooter where at least before that time, where you get the amount of money you get for your next loadouts is based on how much you took in the last mission. Like, if you see the first playthrough I did in the second mission where you go through the manor, I didn't really steal anything because it seemed like every time I picked something up it was like a bowl where I'd just throw it and then it'd make noise. That's one thing that's really, really annoying. And I didn't have any money to buy extra water arrows for the next mission after that, where you're going through the zombie horde. Not horde, there's like 4 zombies, but whatever. I mean, that's really an interesting mechanic. Maybe that couldn't have held a whole game by itself, but it definitely would have made it more interesting than just shooting zombies with bows and arrows and running away from dinosaurs. Supposedly you can kill them, but every time I walked up near one, like 6 of them would either trample me or spew gas at me. So it's a really great. It has really solid fundamentals, and the game brings a lot to the table that hadn't really been seen before. But it's brought back by these silly mechanics that just don't really work. That's why Thief is held back from greatness. Arguably, you could say it has greatness stolen from it. It gets a score, last call score of a 7 out of 10. It's a good game. If you find it on a Steam sale or a GOG sale, or you find a used copy at a thrift store, I found used copies of many PC games at thrift stores. If you see it for a few bucks, less than 5 or so, pick it up. If you're really interested in the stealth subgenre of first-person shooters, then you really should pick it up, because it's arguably one of the first big titles in that subgenre. But it's not a great game, because it's held back by just really silly things. And some games can pull off silly really well. Duke Nukem 3D pulls off silly just fine. But it's not a game that takes itself seriously in any respect. Thief tries to do that, and then goes off the deep end in this weird occult thing. So stay tuned for our next episode, or video, or whatever, where we'll be reviewing something. Could be a video game, could be a book, for all I know. You're seeing my face on the screen for like the first time, unless you saw that one video I made like in June or July. So stay tuned, and if you like the video, make sure to like it. If you really like it, definitely click the subscribe button down below, or up, or in the menu bar, or wherever the subscribe button is on whatever you're watching this on. And make sure to follow on all various forms of social media. And we'll see you next time.